It's another episode of Channels Beam, and as usual, we're discussing the trending topic, which at this time is the cost of governance in Nigeria, with a close look at the running of the legislative arm of the government. You're welcome. I'm Amy Thompson. The social media has been buzzing with the news of monies paid to Nigerian lawmakers for their services. At first, it was wardrobe allowance and then others, and the figures range from 500,000 to billions of naira. This is what we're discussing on this episode of Channels Beam. But first, let's see major trends of last week.
Charleston shootings. There was a global outcry as to how perpetrators of dastardly acts are arrested in the United States after pictures and headlines used to describe the perpetrator of the shooting in Charleston surfaced. Father's Day. Fathers made the headlines as their day was celebrated in most parts of the world.
And the figures range from 500,000 to billions of naira. This is what we're discussing on this episode of Channels Beam. But first, and now let's hang out and of course discuss today's topic.
In terms of the allowance, I think it's just too much. It's a whole lot too much. 9 billion is something that if you put into some part of this country, something will get moving. And we're talking about a time where there's a cash crunch, there's no money in the system. So talking about spending 9-point-something billion naira on allowances for clothes, for fuel and other things, I feel it's a lot too much. I even feel things like the wardrobe allowance should not even be there at all. If they're going to have their cars fueled and they're going to have some other things, but for now we're in a period where we're virtually in like a recess. Our economy is down, so I don't think it's one of those things we should be prioritizing right now.
Clothe who? Who are you clothing? Whose wardrobe allowance? Who wants the wardrobe? Who wants the allowance? Those are the questions people need to ask for. Even if the money was $1 per legislator, I still think that the whole idea behind it is self-defeating. I mean, you cannot do that in normal democracy. And that Nigerians have allowed this madness to continue is a pointer to the fact that we operate in a binary public where people just don't give a damn, and where people don't care, and where it doesn't matter how much you steal, as long as it doesn't take the little food they got on their table out from those tables, they wouldn't complain. And that worries me. Even if our economy was as buoyant as the Ethiopian economy, which is the fastest growing after China in the world, I do not think that this kind of a thing should happen with citizens folding their arms and watching people just taking their lives away from them in broad daylight. This for me is more than robbery. And I have a problem with it for one reason, not because it's a lot of money, but because we have a new government which came into power on the slogan of change. So the question some of us are beginning to ask is, what are we changing from? Is this continuity or is this change? And if it is change, what are you changing from? From the old to the old, or from the new to a new, or to a new old? These are fundamental questions people must ask themselves.
I am extremely disappointed that in 2015, our legislators can still be this heartless to the Nigerian people. Because imagine if every elected politician in Nigeria, continue sharing money in this proportion, there will be practically nothing left for the ordinary people to eat. And like I said, once things like this continue, the time is going to come when ordinary Nigerians and poor Nigerians will have nothing left to eat but the politicians, And I'm of the opinion that Nigerians, irrespective of party lines, and party divide, should come together, to make sure that we make a statement, in the Occupy Dance movement. And it should not just be like business as usual, where we just come, say nice things, and we go back. We should ensure that something is done about this, because Nigerians were promised change. This is definitely not the kind of change that we expected. We in the PDP, I, for instance, I believe that, things, should not be like the way they were from 1999 to 2015.
We have 500 public servants working in an institution for a year, and they are going to be spending 150 billion or 100 billion thereabouts. What do they manufacture? What are they doing there? They sit down, have discussions, take recess for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, come back, and they spend 150 billion. It doesn't make sense. These are 500, less than 500 public servants, and their job is to talk. You understand? So I don't see a reason why they should be spending billions of naira. In fact, I find it troubling that they'll be spending more than 1 billion naira a year. I find it very troubling.
I wonder.
We have institutions in this country. There is, for instance, let me give you an example. It's the federal government college. Go to one of these federal government colleges, large expanse, about 1,000 or so students, lecturers. They don't spend up to 1 billion naira educating students in a year. So I don't see any reason why they should be spending this billion. It's really outrageously expensive. For these public servants, less than 500 of them to do this. And with whose permission? When they tell us about the revenue mobilization and fiscal allocation committee, where did those people get the figures from? You find out that it's still a circle that leads up to the same Senate and House of Representatives. You understand? They tell the executive, do this. The executive says, okay, do this. And you understand? So it's all a circle. By the time we go, because we will definitely go to this place, the RMFAC, we'll go there and say, how did you get this figure that you should be giving people 506,000 naira to close? And they will tell us, okay, it came from here. And we'll go to that place. And we'll find out that eventually it came from the Senate.
Just a minute, let's go for a short break. We'll be back shortly.